Cheers, Kampai, Salute, Gambe, Skål, Prost. Hello, and welcome to the Drunken Storytellers podcast, where I tell folktales and folklore from around the globe. So sit back, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm a bit late than usual. I've got a bit of a new setup and I've had internet issues, so I do apologise. Just bear with me one second. I just need to reorganise something, I think. Where is it? That's what I want. No, that's not what I want. Listen to me singing whilst we do this. I'm going to tell some fun stories today. Well, I'm not actually telling any stories, thinking about it. So, whilst I try and sort all this stuff out that I'm trying to do at the moment, so as I say, I'm a few days late to kind of what I used to be doing, which was every couple of days. Why is that coming through a sound? Shut up. There we go. Sorry. Right, let's start all that again. I've noticed that there's no image coming through. Why is there no... What's happening here? Oh, I know what's happening. I can do technology. No, I can't. I'm an idiot. There we go, that's better. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. I've got it all working now. Whoop. So, if you're watching the YouTube video, I do apologise about that bit. I know technology. Right. Anyway, now I'm ready. Honest gov. And I've got a bit of a sore throat. So good job that we're doing this, because I can then get to moisten my throat. So, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Drunken Storyteller. So, as I was just mumbling about, I am a few days late. I was not intending to do this on a weekly basis, but it's kind of gone on to a weekly basis thing. Which, well, gives me something to do in the evenings. I imagine when lockdown ends, and I'm actually back in the office and doing things outside of my, really small apartment, this won't happen weekly. But at the moment it's happening weekly, or as close to weekly as I can get. But I'm doing this on Friday instead of Wednesday, as life kind of caught up to me this week a little bit. A little bit of stress with uni work and stuff. But, well, that's all over, and I've actually had a good Thursday and Friday. So, anyway, enough of my life, enough of my moaning and ranting. Last episode I mentioned that I might do something on giants. This episode. Obviously, if you've seen the title of this episode, that's not what I've done. I'm not aware of any giants in the city of Prague. But yeah, no, I'm not doing giants. I will probably do that next episode. In fact, I will do that next episode. I'm just trying to find something that is not kind of European based, I suppose. As I say, when I do these things, I want to look at things that are not the most well-known stories. But this I'm going to do a well-known story kind of today on this thing. But I want to kind of, with the giant stuff, I don't want to do the British Isles, and I don't want to do the Viking stuff. They're like the well-known stuff. So you've got Gog Magog, and you've got Fimir and things like that, and Shooter from the Viking lore. And I don't really want to look into those, and there's a load in Northern Ireland and stuff as well, but I want to go beyond that and look at other countries, so I need to look at that into a bit more before I do that. So yes, today, as you can see, I'm going to be talking about a place and some of the folklore and legends and history. I'm going to do a bit of a history lesson onto this place, and that is Prague. It's like my most favourite city in the world. Absolutely love it, been many times, and I desperately want to go again. I'd love to go in the winter on a day when it's actually covered in snow. there's a guy on YouTube I watch called the Honest Guide, and he's the best. And I'm watching his videos every week, and there's no snow in there at the moment, so I don't want to go, but I do want to go because I love Prague and it's amazing, and you should all go, especially after you hear all these little things that I'm going to tell you. But yeah, it's a deeply historic city. It's filled with loads of old buildings, ornate stuff you can see. If you're watching the video, that's the old town hall at Charles Square, just around the corner from here. I think even actually on the side you can kind of see it is the astronomical clock. Just away from here, if you turn around and walk back, you've got Charles Bridge, you've got the Jewish Quarter, you've got the castle up on top of the hill. There's a lot of things in the city that I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to. There's St. Vitus Cathedral as well, and it's absolutely beautiful and stunning, and there's so much history behind it. And I'll go into a bit of that in the podcast part of it, not this video part that I'm doing at the moment, so you'll have to kind of go to that. Anyway, but yeah, so because I'm talking about Prague and Prague, because Prague does some amazing beers, I've actually got a beer from Prague, Staropramen. It's a really nice little beer. Budvar is another good one from the Czech Republic as well. Not Budweiser, Budvar. Don't drink Budweiser. Budweiser's crap. So yeah, cool. But the first thing that I'm going to kind of talk about today, in fact, I'm kind of doing this a little bit differently to what I originally said that I was going to make this podcast. And there was me getting drunk and telling stories. I'm not actually going to tell a story today. I'm going to kind of more discuss a story and kind of discuss the roots of it and kind of give little hints of it. So it is kind of, there is a bit of kind of the telling of the story, but it's more of a discussive telling of the story rather than I've written something and turned it into utter crap. I'm going to just talk about it and make it sound utter crap instead. So enjoy. And this is probably one of the most famous folk tales and folklores to actually come out of Prague, this first bit. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that has kind of spread beyond its original roots within Jewish folklore and mysticism and stuff. And so, yeah, it is a Jewish folktale. Ooh, excuse me. And it's the tale and the mythology of the Golem of Prague. There are actually many tales if you kind of look into it. I spent most of this afternoon writing this episode instead of working, but don't tell my supervisor. Yeah, so I spent most of this afternoon kind of looking into this, and I just kind of, there's reams of stuff on the Golem of Prague, so I'm just going to give you a bit of an overview and a little bit of info on it, which is one of the reasons why I didn't do a story on it, because I just couldn't choose which one to talk about. So yeah, they all have various aspects and themes to them as well. So the Golem of Prague first appeared in some Germanic writings in the first half of the 19th century, like around 1840 or something like that. And as we know, that the Victorians were massive folklorists, and so we're seeing here that there's also some massive German folklorists gathering up the tales and stuff as well. So before I actually look into kind of the Golem of Prague itself, let's have a little bit of a talk about what a golem actually is. So a golem comes from, as I said, Jewish folklore, and it is an anthropomorphic creature made from inanimate materials, usually clay or mud, but there are examples in places where they're made of stone or wood, which I didn't know, and I found quite interesting. Ooh, I've got a very red face on this video. It's really disturbing. But yeah, it's part of my new setup. I'm using a crappier camera because it's easier. It doesn't take me 3 hours to set up. So anyway, where was I? Yeah. Yeah, so they, as I say, there were some that have been made of wood and stone, and then these inanimate materials are animated in some form. The word golem comes from a Yiddish word, goylem, and then which was then became a Hebrew word, golem, and that's where we kind of get it from. Its meaning, its meaning is a shapeless mass or amorphous, unformed material. So slightly different to kind of what we see it as now as an animated lump of clay with a anthropomorphic form. Apparently, it comes from something that has no form and is inanimate. According to Moment magazine, the golem is a highly mutable metaphor with seemingly limitless symbolism. It can be a victim or villain, Jew or non-Jew, man or woman, or sometimes both. Over the centuries, it has been used to connotate war, community, isolation, hope, and despair. And yeah, when you kind of look through the different tales of, especially the Golem of Prague, it goes through different phases, and depending on which source you look at, sometimes it's very, very nice and really happy and protective. Other times it goes on murderous rampages and kind of destroys things and just goes psychotic. So even within one single formation of the golem, we see different aspects of this creature. So the oldest stories of golems come from Jewish folklore, and in some instances we even see Adam being cited as the first golem. So this is Adam as in Adam and Eve, as he was formed from dust and kneaded into a shapeless husk. So the very first human is a golem, and if you kind of take that ideology, does that mean we're like all children of golem and we're all like baby golems running around and we're actually all creatures made of clay? Ooh. But no, we're not. We're all made of stardust. And I'm not going to get into that conversation. I'm an astrophysicist. So, stardust, we're all made of stars. You're all stars. You're all lovely people, and you're all stars in my eyes as well. Those 3 people who listen to the podcast. Anyway, sidetracks. Okay, so yes, we know that they're made from this inanimate materials. So, for example, clay. How do these materials then become a golem and life, or animated, I should say? There's a couple of ways that this can happen, and it kind of depends again on what sources you read, but most of them refer to 2 kind of main ways that you can form or animate the golem itself. Now, apparently, me not being an expert on this or ever having read anything on Jewish mysticism, there is no recorded record of any form of ritualistic practices to create a golem. All that we know is from folktales and folklore. So there is no study of the practices or research into the practices of creating golem. So, as I say, apparently, I've not looked into it, but a lot of the sources that I looked at, when they talk about golems, there's no actual written down, this is how you do it. So the 2 most common ways that you can animate a golem. The first is with something known as a shem. This is a ritualistic formation of a couple of Hebrew letters, and generally forms one of the names for God in Hebrew. This is then placed in the mouth or the forehead of the golem, and it animates the clay and gives it life, so to speak. The second is by inscribing certain Hebrew words and letters across the forehead. And in the Brothers Grimm tales where they talk about golems, this is the one that they use. So we see it across multiple different sources, whether it's the Jewish folklore or in actual folklore and folklore collections like the Grimm Brothers. One of these words is, I'm going to read it in a very bland English way, and it's probably not pronounced like this, but is emet, E-M-E-T, and apparently it means truth. So they'd write emet in Hebrew not in English, across the forehead. And the way to deactivate the rabbi, you would remove the Aleph symbol, or the Aleph letter in Emet, changing the word from truth to the meaning of death or dead, and that would deactivate that golem. The one which had the Shem in its mouth, you just remove the Shem from its mouth, and that would turn it off, I suppose. Turn it off, deactivate it. So yeah, there's a little bit of a kind of background into a little bit of golem knowledge and how you can create one if you ever want to go and get a load of mud out of a riverbank and make a animated clay man. For some reason I'm getting images of the Beast of Golgotha from that Kevin Smith movie. Oh, I've forgotten the name of it. I'm going to have a drink and I'm going to edit this bit out. So, yeah, anyway. Right, let's go back to the Golem of Prague. So, as I mentioned before, the story first appears around the 1840s in German, in some German texts. Though there are people who claim to have seen evidence of it appearing before this, but they never produced this evidence. And most people and most scholars apparently take this as a bit of a hoax. So if you see anybody claiming that the Golem of Prague existed before about 1840s, I think it was 1837 or something like that, they're lying. But yeah, so the story goes that in the 16th century in Prague, a rabbi... Excuse me. I'm breathing a lot for some reason and it's causing me a lot of gas. Not something you really wanted to know, really, is it? I do apologise. It's a Friday, it's the end of the week, it's all gone sideways. So yeah, I will read this. The story goes that in the 16th century in Prague, a rabbi by the name of Judah Lo ben Bezalel, also known as the Maharal, created a golem from the clay at the banks of the Vitkava River. The Vitkava River is the main river that runs through the city of Prague. If you've seen pictures of the Charles Bridge, it's the river that goes over. The Mahar... I am going to fuck this up so many times. The Maharal brought it to life through rituals and incantations and putting a Shem in its mouth to defend the Jews of the cities from attacks and pogroms. Pogroms being specifically violent protests and attacks upon a group of religious people, specifically Jews. I had to look that one up. My knowledge of words is not very good. So I do apologise. I'm not very literate. Blame the sciences. So the kind of story it goes, it's like he and his two of his friends shaped the clay that they got from the river into the shape of a man. The first friend circled the golem 7 times, reciting holy words, and it began to glow. The second man did the same, and the glow turned into water vapour or steam, depending upon the source. The Maharal, or the rabbi, then circled the golem 7 times, and all 3 cried out together, and God blew the breath of life into his nostrils. This woke up the golem, and he opened his eyes. Bing! Hello, I'm awake. So the golem was said to have great strength and the ability to vanish, like just go ping and disappear, which is quite impressive for a massive clay beast. But it was also, unfortunately, it was mute. It could hear and it could see what was going on, but it was unable to speak. And we see this quite a lot, actually, within a lot of other golem myths and stories, that they can't communicate vocally. So they have to kind of find other ways, unless the rabbi has given them a shem or something that actually gives them the power of speech. They have to be specifically given the power of speech. But yeah, so every Friday, Rabbi Lowe would remove the shem from the golem's mouth before the Sabbat would begin on the Saturday. So now, the Sabbat in most Abrahamic religions, this is something I actually looked up because I thought this was on a Sunday. So I looked it up. The Sabbat is most words. The Sabbat in most Abrahamic religions have their Sabbath. Oh. I don't know what I've written here. I shouldn't write things when I'm not paying attention. The Sabbath in most Abrahamic religions is on a Saturday. There you go, I've added an extra couple of sentences in there. So the Sabbath in most Abrahamic religions is on a Saturday. Though the modern church and modern times have kind of combined the idea of the Sabbath, which is the rest day, with a communal worship day on a Sunday. So you've kind of, technically Saturday is still the Sabbath, but it's kind of shifted to Sunday. Through convenience of the modern society. But yeah, so he would remove the shem, allowing the golem to rest on the Sabbath, as was and is kind of customary within the Jewish religion. So there are many specific tales that relate to the Prague of Golem, the Golem of Prague. This is going so well, and this is probably why I shouldn't be recording this episode. Woo. So there are many tales of the Golem of Prague and its feats. Some have it, as I was saying before, it has it as a kind, protective creature. Others have it going off on murderous rampages because they killed its friend or something. But it basically always protects the Jewish community in Prague. There is one story that I thought was kind of interesting to show kind of the power, not so much the power, but the kindness of this massive creature. There's a story where the rabbi was set up for the murder of a girl. However, the girl was actually missing, and so there was no body and there was no murder committed. But the rabbi and a friend of his was framed for the murder. And the excuses that were kind of flown around was that he was apparently wanted to drain the blood of the girl and use it to make matzah, a kind of bread. But obviously Rabbi Lowe was like, yeah, no, I didn't do this. This wasn't me. You're all mental. Don't accuse me of doing this stuff. So he got the golem, whispered in his ear, and sent the golem off to find the girl and bring her back. Which, being the good golem he did do this. He went out and he found the girl and he brought it back, and the rabbi and his friend were cleared of murder and all other weird, nasty stuff. So we see things like that happening, and yeah, it walked around and protected the community and things as well. So eventually the rabbi died, and the golem is. There are many ways that in different stories of how the golem stopped being the golem. Some say that they removed the shem and it fell to pieces. Others say they performed the ritual backwards to kind of turn it off and things. So, but the legends do state that the golem still lies in the attic of the Maharal's synagogue, and will return one day to protect the Jews of Prague once again. Now, there is a name for this synagogue. I think it's the Old and New Synagogue, but there's another name for it. It is still a synagogue in Prague in the Jewish quarter, and you can visit it. The attic is closed off to the public, and in I put 1993, but I think it's actually 1883. The synagogue was actually renovated, and they went into the attic, and obviously there was no golem there, and there was no clay statue there, and there are lots of legends as to why it wasn't there, like it was stolen, it was buried elsewhere, and things like that. And there's a bit of connotations with connections with the Nazis as well, which is kind of sad. As it says, it was like Arthur is meant to come back and protect the Britons. The Golem is meant to come back and protect the Jews of Prague. And as unfortunately we saw during the Second World War, obviously that didn't unfortunately happen. It would have been brilliant if it did. But if you do ever go to Prague, there is the Jewish Quarter. It is a beautiful quarter of Prague, and there is a really heartbreaking but absolutely fantastic memorial to the Jewish community. And there's a absolutely beautiful and haunting, I suppose, memorial to all the millions of Jews who lost their lives during the Second World War. And it's hard. It's a hard visit, but it is definitely worth it. But yeah, rather than dwelling on, unfortunately, the sad aspects of some of the Prague's history, let's kind of finish there with the Golem of Prague. So yeah, there are, as I was saying earlier again, many other tales of golems from around Europe. So the Brothers Grimm do talk of them, and there are tales from Poland and Lithuania as well. And we do see them pop up all over modern pop culture. Modern pop culture, they're the same thing, I think. I don't know, whatever. So we see them over pop culture in like RPGs and fantasy novels as well. And one of my favourite is Chem from Feet of Clay by the late great Terry Pratchett, who manages to gain free will. Woo! But we won't spoil that story. But I think Chem comes from the name of one of the golems from Poland, and is actually another famous golem story. But yeah, go read Terry Pratchett. Go read all of Terry Pratchett except the first two books. Don't read The Light Fantastic and Colour and Magic because they're a bit pants. But read the rest of them. Feet of Clay is good. But yeah, maybe I'll come back one day and actually delve more into golems and different stories from different parts of Europe, and maybe see if there's any analogues from other regions of the world, because that could be kind of cool, like awesomes. I really can't do words today. But yeah, golems are cool, and they're really interesting and fascinating folklore. So yeah, I'll probably delve into them again at some point later, but there's so many other things that I want to look at as well. So yeah, cool. Anyway, so that's it for the live or the YouTube part of it. I know it says I've got 3 people watching this. Actually, 2 of those are me because of the way I've got my setup up. So I've got 1 person watching this. Hello. I think I know who you are. But yeah, anyway, so that's it for this episode. I do hope you enjoyed it, finding a little bit about the Golem of Prague. If you want to find out about some other interesting history of Prague and some other folk tales related to Prague, do pop over to my podcast, the Drunken Storyteller Podcast. I'm on, where am I on? I'm on Spotify and Apple, and I think I'm on another one. I'm also definitely on Podbean because that's where I host it. And I think I might be on Google, I don't know. But yeah, do go check me out there. Do give me a review and a kind of comment and like and stuff on Apple, because that's a really great way to kind of promote it. Same thing on YouTube. Give me a like and comment on YouTube, please, and share. I know I only get like 10 views, but it'd be nice to get maybe 12. So, but yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at the Drunken Store 1. I don't post much very often there. I'm on Facebook as The Drunken Storyteller, and you can email me at thedrunkenstorytelleruk@gmail.com as well for like suggestions and things. One thing that is kind of cool that has happened, actually, I found out this week. I think it was this week. I'm losing track of time again. Is that how I've kind of been bagging on about Virtual HorrorCon. I'm actually going to be doing a live panel for Virtual HorrorCon, talking about folklore and some of the themes and aspects of folklore. And one of the other panelists on this, and I am super, super excited about this, it's Mark from the Folklore podcast. Like, the Folklore podcast is like one of the big folklore talky podcasts out there. And their latest episode, they were just speaking to Einar, the lead singer from Wardruna, about folk music and things. And I'm just like, whoa, I'm going to be on a panel with him, and I need to pretend I know what I'm talking about. Ah, crap. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a panel on that. I think in UK time this will be it's at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, so add 5 onto that, so 6:30 UK time on Sunday the 21st of February. It will be recorded, and it will go up on the Gehenna Gaming YouTube channel at some point in the future. I will try and get a recording of that and upload it onto my podcast if I'm allowed. If not, you'll have to go over to the Gehenna Gaming YouTube to watch that. Also, during that weekend, I am doing a workshop with Chris from Darker Days Radio, where we will be doing a mini painting workshop. Tickets for that are on sale, so some of it is free, some of it is ticketed, unfortunately. It is a convention, so you do need to pay for some things, and the workshops are something you have to pay for. I'm also doing I'm only going to be running 2 games, I've decided, for it. I'm going to be running a Vessen game based in Scotland and my Chronicles of Darkness game based in Manchester. Both of these are non-streamed games, so they won't be live. Maybe they might be live on my channel if the players are okay with it. But again, these are ticketed events to join. So if you want to know anything about kind of Virtual HorrorCon, do head over to www.virtualhorrorcon.com and go check it out. Or go over to Darker Days Radio social media or Gehenna Gaming social media, and you can find stuff about all the other stuff going on. There's some stuff on, I think there's a panel on occult magic and black magic and stuff and things. So there's kind of really cool stuff going on there. Anyway, so I'm going to leave this section of the podcast web thingy, whatever the fuck you want to call this now. I'm going to have a bit more of a drink, set up and record the extra bit for the podcast, which will go out I'll probably go out tomorrow rather than today. So the drink has run dry, or not, because I've only just started another bottle. I've got lots left. Whoop. And I will see you on the next one, where I will talk about giants, I promise. So if you hear me talking about other things and like I'm about to talk about other things, tell me off, because I said I'd talk about giants, and I'm going to talk about giants, and I'm hoping it's going to be on Wednesday next week. I hope. If not, I'm sorry. Anyway, see you all later. Cheers! Kampai! Salute! Gambe! Skål! Prost! Hello, and welcome to the Drunken Storytellers podcast, where I tell folktales and folklore from around the globe. So sit back, grab yourself a drink, and enjoy the show.